Hello everyone, I'm Hallie, and for my cultural artifact, I will be analyzing a YouTube skit titled Jewish Siri. This skit was released in 2017 and produced by Jewish comedian Mendy Pellin. Mendy Pellin produces videos on American Hasidic culture that can be found on his personal channel and the channel Jew Bellish. I will now play the beginning of the skit.
You guys ready? Okay. Siri, play Avram Fried.
Searching for Afghanistan Freed by Muhammad Ibrahim Quaxha.
Siri, play Avroham Fried.
That name is too Jewish for me to understand.
Siri! Look familiar? Now I have a kosher phone. Instead of Siri, I have Avram Fried.
Though this clip displays no actual use of Jewish languages outside of the name Avram Fried and the word kosher, it demonstrates a struggle that American Jews have faced throughout their migration to the United States, remaining authentically Jewish while also assimilating to American English and culture. In this next clip, we will watch how Mendy Pellin engages with Jewish languages with his new Jewish Siri.
Avram Fried, what's the weather going to be like on Shabbos?
It will, Yirtzeh Hashem, be very cold. Not Siberia, Mesiras Nefesh cold, but bundle up.
So in this clip, what we witness is Mendy Pellin asking what the weather will be like on Shabbos. Avram Fried gives a response in a Yiddish accent and uses the phrase Yirtzeh Hashem. Shabbos is the Yiddish word for Shabbat, a word originating from Hebrew, and Yirtzeh Hashem is a Hebrew phrase meaning if God wills it or God willing. Like many Jewish Americans, Mendy Pellin and Avram Fried / Jewish Siri make use of loanwords. Loanwords are words borrowed into other languages. In this case, Mendy Pellin and Avram Fried are borrowing Yiddish words and Hebrew phrases to speak Jewish English. Hebrew and Yiddish loanwords make up a large portion of Jewish English, which differs from standard American English in that it consistently borrows from Yiddish and Hebrew lexicon, syntax, phonology, and prosody.
Avram Fried, where's the closest Starbucks?
This is what I found. Klein's Kosher Bakery is 4 blocks away from here.
Oh, perfect. Avram Fried, call Chaim Yechiel Michel.
Say 1 for Chaim Yechiel Michel Goldberg. Say 2 for Chaim Yechiel Michel Goldfarb.
The second one.
Though this clip appears to just be a short piece on stereotypical Jewish last names, it actually introduces us to migration patterns of the Jewish diaspora and how names are such an important aspect of Jewish languages and culture. In the first half of the clip, Mendy Pellin asks Avram Fried where the nearest Starbucks is, to which Avram Fried responds, Klein's Kosher Bakery is 4 blocks away from here. Klein's is just one of the many examples of Jewish surnames that can be traced back to Eastern Europe, and more specifically, Ashkenazi Jews. As Ashkenazi Jews immigrated from Israel to Eastern Europe, there was external pressure to pick surnames. These were often based either on the mother or father's name, their occupation, a place, or in the case of Klein, which means small, a personal characteristic. Given that the skit takes place in the United States, we can assume that the owner of Klein's Bakery is an Ashkenazi immigrant or a descendant of one. A similar idea also applies to the names Goldberg and Goldfarb, the surnames of people Mendy is trying to call. Like Klein, the surnames Goldberg and Goldfarb are also evidence of Jewish migrations and can be traced back to Eastern Europe. Until the 18th century, European governments viewed Jewish people as a group rather than individuals. This manifested in ways like assigning one tax to a whole Jewish town and leaving it up to the members of the town to divide it. Because Jews were viewed as a whole, there was no need for separate last names for each family. When governments started integrating Jews into society as individuals, they were given up to 6 months to choose a last name, and many Jewish people opted to combine German words to create their own last name. In the clip, Mendy has 2 contacts, Goldfarb meaning gold color and Goldberg meaning gold hill. Again, these characters are likely Ashkenazi immigrants or descendants of them. Due to the fact that these names were picked in Eastern Europe, they borrow from local languages. I will now continue the skit.
Are Little Jack's potato chips kosher?
Yes, but we don't hold from that hechsher.
Oh, what's the meaning of life?
Well, actually, in today's Tanya portion,
Where is a good place to eat around here?
will that be milchik or fleishik?
Milchik.
This sequence primarily contains examples of translanguaging and post-vernacular engagement with Yiddish and Hebrew. In the first clip, Mendy asks whether or not a brand is kosher, to which Avram Fried replies, "Yes, but we don't hold from that hesher." This sentence is a great example of translanguaging because it combines English words with Hebrew syntax and words. For something to be hesher, it must be approved kosher by a rabbi, something distinctively Jewish. Though there are non-Jewish Americans who do follow dietary restrictions, we don't say hold from vegetarian or hold from gluten-free. As Mendy transitions from Standard English to Jewish English with Hebrew elements, he demonstrates how many Jewish Americans translanguage. In the next clip, Mendy and Avram Fried display an example of post-vernacular engagement instead. Mendy asks what's the meaning of life, to which Avram Fried replies, here's a portion of the Tanya. The Tanya is a Hasidic philosophy work from the 16th century. This clip leans more towards post-vernacular engagement because while Avram Fried is using a Hebrew loanword, that's it. The sentence is otherwise fully in English. In the third clip, we see another similar example of post-vernacular engagement as Mendy asks Avram Fried for a recommendation for a restaurant, and Avram Fried prompts him to choose him between milchig or fleshig. Once again, these sentences are fully in English besides the two Yiddish words milchig and fleshig. This next clip will display an interesting example of language use unique to the rest of the skit.
Avram Fried, play Shweki.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Avram Fried, play Mordecai and David.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Avram Fried, play Avram Fried.
Though the whole skit has klezmer music playing in the background, this clip is the first instance in where music with words is played. The song played is Baruch Habo and is almost entirely in Hebrew. Avram Fried is the one singing, but Mendy listening to it still displays post-vernacular engagement. Post-vernacular engagement is defined as language involvement with the language even if it is not spoken in full conversation and engaging with languages in ways other than day-to-day use. Regardless of Mendy fully understanding what is being sung, he is still actively listening to Hebrew and interacting with it. I've cropped the video to fit within a time limit, but shortly after this clip, Mendy invites Avram Fried to perform at a Jewish gala to further promote Hebrew use and learning within the United States. Here's the final clip before this.
Avram Fried, what's the score?
No, not in the middle of davening.
To a close with a lighthearted joke when Mendy asks for a game score and Avram Fried scolds him by saying, "Nu, not in the middle of davening." Yet again, we see another instance of loanword usage with the word davening, which stems from the Yiddish word daven and means prayer. Throughout the skit, the use of loanwords was the most consistent form of post-vernacular engagement, with some translanguaging and one instance of a fully Hebrew song. Like many American Jews, Mendy interacts with Yiddish and Hebrew in a way that is not entirely one language, but rather a mix of Jewish languages and standard American English. His use of Jewish languages serves primarily to maintain Jewish culture and not Jewish languages because outside of America and places like Israel, Jewish languages thrive. How Mendy spoke throughout the skit is an example of how many American Jews use Jewish languages primarily as a symbol of their heritage. If you would like to check out more of Mendy Pellin's work, you can view it on these two YouTube channels. Here are the sources I used for my video.